warm welcome back. This is Sage and you're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney. And this is the Sectoral Pulse by Kalkine TV, a special show covering all sectoral movements from the markets for the day. The Australian markets are trading in red today. ASX is down by around 50 points and the markets couldn't hold on to gains and reach a 14-month high on the last day of the month. The major losses on the index are Beach Energy, which is down 23.1% after downgrading guidance, while ResMed is also trading lower. Seven Group, which has a 28% stake in Beach, was also trading in the red. Beach Energy was the top laggard in today's trade after it said that reserves at its oil fields in the country were drying up, with losses in gold stocks also weighing on the benchmark index. The oil and gas producer downgraded its annual production forecast and said it would review its reserves at Western Flank after output declined there. Beach also dragged the energy sub-index 1.3% lower despite oil prices rising overnight. And from the sectoral front, gold stocks also fell around 2%. Financial stocks slid by 0.4% and Australia and New Zealand Banking Group lost 0.3% after it warned of a profit hit in the first half from an exposure to Malaysia's 1MBD scandal. Tech stocks fell by 0.9% and miners lost 1.3% in the trade today. On the other hand, from the gainers' side, Mesoblast is trading higher on COVID trials result. The 60-day trial of its emestemcel-L drug showed the treatment reduced mortality in COVID patients under the age of 65. And meanwhile, Japara Healthcare is up 22% after a takeover bid from Calvary Healthcare. The other losers on the index were ANZ, Afterpay and Appen. Shares of Beach Energy and Mesoblast were the most traded in terms of volume. The ASX 200 opened lower, hit by losses in gold stocks after the bullion dropped, even as the major Wall Street stock indices settled higher overnight. The Australian benchmark equity index dipped 7.50 points or 0.11% to 7,074.80 during the opening and couldn't hold onto a 14-month high. Over the last 5 days, the index is virtually unchanged, but was currently 0.31% below its 52-week high. Meanwhile, the Dow Jones rose 0.71% and S&P 500 gained 0.64% to 4,210.02. The Nasdaq Composite also closed the session up by a marginal rise. Moving on to the latest updates from the commodity markets. Oil prices surged to 6-week highs on Thursday on robust US economic data and a better than expected demand recovery. 3 months Brent crude oil futures traded 0.13% up at $68.03 US per barrel, whereas the June delivery WTI crude oil futures traded at $64.79 US per barrel, down 0.34%. A weaker US dollar additionally supported the prices, and the US dollar index had dipped to the 9-week lowest range, followed by a dovish outlook from the Fed. And meanwhile, the news from Europe that it will double its vaccine capacity for the next year has also acted bullish and helped to lift oil prices. However, the rise in COVID-19 cases in India and Brazil is a matter of concern and has reduced the oil demand significantly. And meanwhile, palladium prices surged to an all-time high peak of $2,981.99 US per ounce on Thursday on robust demand and supply disruptions. Palladium futures crossed the US $2,900 per ounce level mark for the first time. The metal prices have surged by more than 11% this month. High demand of the silver white metal in the automobile industry for catalytic converter amid stringent pollution guidelines in China and Europe has skyrocketed the demand for palladium. Supply concerns from the world's leading palladium producer, including Russia's Norilsk nickel, have created a supply deficit, leading to a surge in soft metal prices. And leading market analyst believes that the prices will cross the US $3,000 per ounce mark in the near future. From the currency markets, the Australian dollar was trading up 0.05% to 0.7781. The US dollar index rose 0.08%. The Australian dollar is a commodities currency, meaning its value against the US dollar, for instance, rises and falls as commodities prices move. Major commodities such as iron, nickel, gold and oil are currently trading higher. Following the rebound in US Treasury yields, the gold prices declined. Spot gold dipped 0.4%, while the US gold futures were down by 0.3% at US $1,768.30. Leading the losses was West African Resources Limited, down 4.6%, followed by Ora Banda Mining Limited. Other gold miners, Newcrest Mining Limited, St Barbara Limited, Silver Lake Resources Limited and Regis Resources Limited fell as much as 2.45% in the early trade. And meanwhile, the 10-year Australian bond yield rose by 2.20% to 1.698. The yield on the benchmark 10-year US Treasury notes touched 1.688%, its highest intraday level in more than 2 weeks, before settling at 1.639%. And from the cryptocurrency markets, Bitcoin traded lower by 2% to US $53,676.70. On Thursday, the popular cryptocurrency traded in a small range, closing 0.32% lower at US $54,894.03. Thank you so much for joining us, and that's all for now. But do stay tuned with Kalkine TV for more of the live market updates. We will be back with more news on markets, economy and diverse themes and sectors. Sage signing off for now.